Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Following the biggest offseason of moves and acquisitions by General Manager Howie Roseman, the expectations of this city have never been higher. Welcome to the 2022 Pond Lehocky Postgame Show on 6abc.com and across the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel, exclusively presented by Pond Lehocky Giordano. Live from the Gallery Bar, booking games inside Ocean Casino Resort. Let's get this post-game show underway. EAGLES, Eagles.
The Eagles are going to another Super Bowl. Good afternoon, everybody. It is the Pond Lehocky Eagles post-game show live from Ocean Casino. And I tell you, at the start of this season, I would have never thought we would get to this point, but they get there rather easily today as they win the NFC title game at Lincoln Financial Field, 31-7, and really all they needed in this game was 14 points. They got their 14 points, and a lot of it was because of the 49ers just didn't have enough left after they lost two more quarterbacks today, including the guy that everybody was in love with, Brock Purdy. Thanks to Hassan Reddick's sack, or at least a hit to the throwing elbow. He was done for the rest of the year and the rest of the game. And then Josh Johnson, pathetic in his attempt to come in. So the Eagles guys are going to the Super Bowl for the second time in a short period of time. Now, this is Philadelphia, right? So we're really not used to this. But first of all, Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, I'm Mike Missinelli. You guys, your overall emotions at this moment.
This was one of the strangest conference championship games I've ever seen. Starting quarterback goes down. The backup quarterback goes down. Starting quarterback comes back in. He can't throw. It's obvious he can't throw the football. The defense just penalty after penalty after penalty, and all the Eagles did was take advantage of every opportunity San Francisco gave them and took it to them in their own backyard. But when you look at the way this team was built, Mike, this team was built for a championship moment. You know, what Howie Roseman started back in March will continue into early February, Seth.
Hey, listen, there's no doubt about it. You know, and I'm going to give kudos to the coaching staff across the board, because if you looked at the first half of that game, Jalen Hurts wasn't passing the ball all that efficiently.
Yeah.
And normally Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen, they wait until the second half to make all their adjustments. They made a major adjustment in the second quarter or at the end of the first quarter to just flip this game on its head. You know, they basically were 18 runs and 19 passes. Most of those passes came earlier, you know, in the game. But when they made that shift, you know, and I get it, it's hard to do, because what they really want to do is they really want to throw the football. And you're playing against the number 2 ranked defense in the National Football League against the run. They're only giving up 79 yards a game. They ground out, 148 yards on another 44 carries. Now, a lot of people say, oh, they only manage, 3.4 yards a carry. Who gives a damn? They control the clock.
Exactly.
They won the game. You know, they beat this team into submission, starting with the quarterback and then the backup quarterback. They nicked up, Bosa early in the game. So, hey, listen, for me, it worked out the way that I hoped it would, that the Cowboys and the 49ers would beat the crap out of each other, they would come in here a little beat up, a little hobbled, not 100%, and a fresh Eagles team that just pretty much ran through the Giants, would have an easy road. Now, it wasn't easy earlier, but once they committed to running the football, it changed everything. It just throws that whole thought out of the window that you win the game by throwing the football. You don't. You still win it by running and stopping the run.
This was obviously the theme of this game, and we talked about it so much coming into this game, was whether Brock Purdy would be able to hold up under this kind of pressure, under the hot lights of this kind of a game. And as it turned out, we didn't tell the story of that because he was out of the game early on the hit by his son Reddick, which turned out to be a fumble that the Eagles recovered. They didn't score off of that. But, the old adage that you cut the head off of a snake, you kill the snake. And it just seemed like once that happened, the 49ers just fell apart, knowing that from that point on, they couldn't score, really. Once Josh Johnson was in the game, they really couldn't score, and everybody kept waiting for Purdy to come back in the game. It was obviously he didn't look like he wanted to come back in the game. It turned out he really couldn't throw the ball, and it was kind of pitiful by the end. But, you sit here and you can't feel sorry for the 49ers, as Seth would say, because this team is going to the Super Bowl, and that's the ultimate goal. And I got to hand it to Nick Sirianni. In his second year, he takes a team to the Super Bowl. To me, that's pretty remarkable. And the whole organization really working to that point to craft a team like this that gets to a Super Bowl has to be applauded.
Well, that's exactly what Doug Peterson did. His second year, he takes this team to a Super Bowl and wins a Super Bowl. And if you go back to then, it was in the second year. A lot of people wanted to run Doug Peterson out of town after their first season that was a 6-10 season. But, kudos to the entire organization. They stayed the course. The biggest thing for me is the fact that they got healthy at all the strategic times of the season. No matter who went down, they got somebody back, except for Derek Barnett, at the most strategic time of the season. Avonte Maddox comes back today, and we talked about it on the pregame show, how huge he was going to be in terms of dealing with whoever San Francisco put in the slot. Well, because Purdy went down, you didn't have to worry about that. And obviously, once Purdy went down, their entire game plan went down the tubes. And you can only ask a defense to hold up for so long. And the Eagles took advantage of them. They took advantage of them on the ground. We thought it was going to be more of a balanced type offense. But once they found out they can peck away at them in the running game, especially on the edge between the tackles, it was lights out after that because the 49ers offense, once it got back on the field, gave the ball right back over to the Eagles.
Yeah, and Seth, we were looking at the game. They scored on the opening drive, and you got to look at San Francisco's decision to defer there. And obviously their strength is their defense, so it made sense that they deferred. But again, the Eagles get the ball right down the field, take a 7-0 lead, and then they kind of went cold. Mm-hmm. And then San Francisco ties the game on the McCaffrey run. And it wasn't until the 49ers, they melted down with a bunch of penalties on that drive that the Eagles got their second touchdown, the 14-7. And that was it, really.
Well, I mean, if you go back and you go possession by possession, the Eagles start off their 11 plays, 66 yards, 5-yard touchdown run by Miles Sanders. Then they go 3 and out, punt. 4 and out, punt. 3 and out, and punt. Then they run off 14 plays for 72 yards, aided by 3 San Francisco defensive penalties. Boom, in the end zone. 13 yards, Sanders again. Then they turn around right before the half, and we were talking about it in the game. I'm like, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, it's 14-7. Take a knee and let the clock run out. Go on in. You're going to get the ball to start the second half. Now, let's just get to halftime. No, what does he do? Mess around, they fumble the ball, the Eagles get the ball on the 30-yard line. 3 plays later, boom, they're right back in the end zone again on a 10-yard Boston Scott run, and now you're down 21-0 at halftime with both of your quarterbacks ailing and beat up. Game was over at halftime.
Yeah, they scored 2 touchdowns in 1:20, and what you allude to, the Eagles had 3 drives, 3, 4, and 3 plays. So that's 10 plays. They gained 13 yards in those 3. And you're going, oh, my God, this 49er defense finally has them shackled. But, again, without their starting quarterback, they just couldn't do anything offensively, and all the
Hey,
Eagles
Mike,
at that point
Mike,
had to
listen,
do it.
I'm not going to make any excuses for the fact that they didn't have their quarterback. You know what? All year long, when Jalen Hurts went out and he got hurt,
That's right.
oh, you know, he's a system quarterback. You know, you can plug anybody in and they can get in there and run that offense. You know, nobody, when you're injured and you're hurt, there's no quarter here. Nobody feels sorry for you. I'm not feeling sorry for the San Francisco 49ers. Because by the grace of God, this could be the Eagles that got beat up
That's
like this
exactly
today,
right.
and the 49ers could have came in here and did what we just did to them.
Well,
so let's revel in the fact that the Birds, for the second time in the last 5 years or 6 years, are going back to another Super Bowl, and by crook or hook, or rook or crook, however the damn saying goes, they've accomplished it.
Hook or crook.
I don't even care.
Hook or crook.
Yeah, but we also can't ignore the fact that they really became a one-dimensional team. If Christian McCaffrey wasn't carrying the football, they had nothing else to go to. In the situation with Josh Johnson, you're talking about a guy's been in the league for 100 years. It got so jumpy there, he couldn't handle a shotgun snap. He was on the practice squad. They had to activate him because of Purdy being their only quarterback. You're right. We shouldn't feel sorry for the 49ers, but the game turned out to be a lot different than we really expected. We thought it was going to be a knockdown, drag-out affair with the Eagles winning the game in the end. It turned out to be easy streak. It turned out to be a free ticket to the Super Bowl, really. And I'm not trying to denigrate what the Eagles did.
There are no free tickets. Okay?
No, you earned that.
Hassan Reddick and that hit was earned.
Yeah.
Those 2 sacks were earned.
Yeah.
That hit by Ndamukong Suh that put Josh Johnson out of the game, that was earned. This team earned everything along the way. I'm not going to say that there's a free gift, a free walk. Listen, I mean, I played 12 years before I got to my first Super Bowl. 12 years, okay? I can attest to how hard it is to get there after desiring to get there for a long time. There's nothing easy about what they've accomplished. So now they got to enjoy this and have a good time, but they got unfinished business, because you know what? If they get there and they don't close the deal, how are we going to be feeling if they don't close the deal?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. This crowd, this fan base, I think, appreciates what they are and getting there. And if they happen to lose to a better team, I don't think it'll kill this fan base.
There is no better team. There is no better team in the National Football League than these Philadelphia Eagles.
Statistically, there's no better team. Now, you look at the two teams that are playing for the AFC Championship team, very good teams, 2 different approaches to their style of play, but very good teams. They'll make an interesting opponent for the Philadelphia Eagles. But the Eagles have to go into that Super Bowl as the favorite for what they've done, number one. Number 2, when you look at what it took for this team to get here, okay, go back to 17. People were just hoping they would get to the Super Bowl when you think about the multitude of injuries they had back in 17, okay? You lost a future Hall of Fame left tackle, a possible Hall of Famer down the road, special team player, your middle linebacker, your franchise quarterback who was in the MVP arc, and nobody thought they were going to get the Super Bowl then. They weren't even a favorite in the games. They weren't a favorite against Atlanta. They weren't a favorite against Minnesota. Surely they weren't a favorite against, the hated Empire in New England. So, yes, you revel in their glory. Now, like Seth said, because of what they accomplished along the way, the stats that they put up and how they took care of business strategically when they had to, I think losing this game would be an extreme disappointment for this fan base and a shocker across the board. If you really watch football, it would be a shocker across the board if they lost the Super Bowl coming up.
You're saying this fan base will expect them to win the Super Bowl, even if it's against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City, think about it. Cincinnati came within 3 points of winning the Super Bowl. 49ers came in here on a 12-game roll. Cincinnati's won 10 in a row. So, yeah, you lose either one of those teams, it would be an extreme disappointment.
But let's recap this season, because a lot of, and we talked about the Howie Roseman acquisitions. When you break this whole thing down, the acquisition of Hassan Reddick and in my mind, C.J. Gardner-Johnson just made this team defensively, and obviously the Jalen Hurts growth and the A.J. Brown addition and Devontae Smith growing and the whole thing. They put together almost a perfect team, Seth.
Well, they put together an efficient team. Like when they signed Hassan Reddick, you know what my greatest worry was? how is Jonathan Gannon going to deploy him? How's he going to use him? You know, because you can't line up in a 5-man front every single time and rush him. I know that the 5-man front is really based for them to be able to stop the run. But when you put him in a 5-man front, you can't drop him all the time either. So when you got this guy, you know, that you just signed over, and my goodness, you know, he finishes up the season, you know, with 16 sacks or whatever the number is, you know, it far exceeds, you know, what anybody, at least what I expected, because I wasn't sure how they were going to use him. You know, I had some ideas and things that I had drawn up, some different ways that you could have used him, but when they needed him to put his hand in the ground because the offense gave you a good lead and now you were just getting after the quarterback, the combination of him and Sweat when Sweat was 100%, you know, the big guys in the middle pushing the pocket, listen, there was nothing like it. And then C.J. Gardner-Johnson and James Bradbury. Come on, man. I mean, you know, you pay James Bradbury $10 million for 1 year. You know, a lot of people scratch their head because he was deemed to be a zone-style, you know, corner. How is he going to fit in a team that plays as much man coverage as this Philadelphia Eagles team did? But you needed that guy to complement Darius Slay on the other side. And a guy like, you know, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I mean, I'm of the opinion of all the guys that are free agents on the defensive side of the ball, he is player number one that they got to figure out how to get him re-signed. You might could plug and play some guys at some other positions that you might lose, but you cannot. This defense has to have C.J. Gardner-Johnson long term in order for this team to stay competitive. In my opinion, yeah. It was just, you know, you talk about how he did. It's an amazing job. What he did on draft night when D-Gun and I sat and did the JAKIB Media Draft Special. I mean, we were all blown away when he traded away that second first-round draft pick and went and got A.J. Brown. I'm like, are you kidding? Because we were talking. I'm like, we need a veteran wide receiver. We got all these young guys. We need somebody to come in and mentor these guys. Boom. They go and they get A.J. Brown. He comes in, has the year of his career this year with Jalen Hurts. Hey, listen, man, I don't think anybody could have imagined that we'd be sitting here talking about the Philadelphia Eagles ahead of the Glendale for Super Bowl 57 at the beginning of this year. All the prognostication about what Jalen could be and what he couldn't be and how A.J. Brown was going to fit in and whether Dallas Goedert could take the step to be, you know, a top-tier tight end. Yeah. And could we improve on the defensive side of the ball that was so horrible? And how many games you think they're going to win? Oh, 9 or 10, you know, maybe 11 or 12. And here we are 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl, and the Philadelphia Eagles are going to another Super Bowl after 57 years of futility. 2 in 5 years. Yeah. Listen, man. I'm gonna give Howie a free pass from now on. I don't give a damn how bad.
He said from now on.
No, you're right. It's so special.
And he dropped the mic on top of that.
He dropped the mic. Let's take a breath here because a lot of people are out there driving home after witnessing it here. And you know,
they're not driving home, Mike.
Driving home.
They're in the streets, Mike.
They're in the streets. All right, so be careful of the people that are driving if you're in the streets. And here's how to save 40% on your car insurance right now. Here's a message from our friends at Del Valle Insurance.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
All righty, it is the Lehocky Eagles postgame show. Mike Missinelli with Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner. Devin Caney will join us in a bit. Lane Johnson will join us in a bit. And I sit here, I'm just astonished at how this season turned out, that this team is actually going to the Super Bowl. It's one of these things that takes a while to process. We were watching that game, and we knew, like, pretty early on that this team was going to go to the Super Bowl. And how you process that feeling as a fan is interesting, because we've all followed this team for a really long time, and here they are going with a viable chance to win it. And you guys think they'll be favored in this Super Bowl, right?
I think they should be favored. I mean, Mike, look at it. Statistically across the board on both sides of the football, in the top 5 in a number of categories and number 1 in a number of categories, okay? Now, we know what a Patrick Mahomes brings to a game. We know what that Andy Reid offense, Eric Bieniemy offense can be like. We know what Zach Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals have weapon-wise and stuff like that. But neither one of those teams defensively are as good as what the 49ers were, okay? And the Eagles put up 31 on them. Now, San Francisco's defense stepped out of character on a number of plays, extended Eagles drives, and aided the Eagles in scoring some touchdowns here. So why wouldn't they be favored? Even if they're a 1.5 point favorite, they should be favored going into that game.
Well, we will see. We'll see what happens.
What do you think, though? What do you think?
I really haven't thought about it. I think if it's the Chiefs, if maybe the Chiefs are a 1 point favorite. But I agree, it's going to be right in there. It might be a pick 'em in this game. I don't know who's going to be favored in the game. But they certainly have a fighting chance, if not to be the favorite, to win another Super Bowl, which to me is really astonishing how the fortunes of this city have turned sports-wise. I mean, you're going to process the whole thing. The Eagles going to the Super Bowl following the Phillies going to the World Series, and also the basketball team is hot. I mean, this is like an amazing year.
Hey, look, Mike, Philadelphia deserves this. I came here in 1997. There were a lot of drought years in this city, okay? You know, it doesn't happen often, but when you do have that opportunity, revel in the moment. Now, the Phillies shocked a lot of people, even getting to the World Series. And you're right. All of a sudden, the 76ers have caught fire, and now these Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl for the second time in 5 seasons. You know what? Like Seth says, like we talk about all the time, it's not easy to get to the Super Bowl. There are a lot of landmines and obstacles along the way that you have to overcome just to get that opportunity. And if you're one of the last 2 teams standing, you have to be able to embrace that moment and enjoy it, man. Because think about it. When they won that Super Bowl in February of 2018, what did Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman say back then? This is the new standard for us, right?
The gold standard.
The gold standard. Well, that gold standard got tarnished a little bit over the next 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of that in 2018 and 19 was due to a multitude of injuries that this team suffered through. Now, they are healthy as anybody left standing. They were the healthiest team going into the playoffs, for that matter. You know, minus Avonte Maddox. Now they get Maddox back, who played his role today. How can you bet against this team right now?
I guess you can, so I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to bet against it. But let's look at the drive that really was the important drive in this game, and we'll talk about our drives of the game. But I just want to point out how the Eagles they had a 4th down, Seth, and this is a very important game. The 49ers had tied the game up at 7, and it's 4th and 1 at their own 34. Now, I'll give Sirianni credit because I'm not so sure in a game of this magnitude I go for it there on 4th down because you set that team up in a real short area if you're not going to make that. But he does go for it, and he converts that 4th and 1, and they got a couple of other 3rd down conversions based on penalties. But to me, that was really a gutsy call.
Listen, it's a gutsy call, but I felt like, it's the call to make. And you know me, I'm conservative when it comes to stuff like that. Most of the time I'm like, punt it away and make them drive 70, 80, 90 yards, to earn anything that they get. But, when you think about, their scrum on 4th and 1 and 4th and inches, I mean, I'm not so sure that I even understand. I don't even think I know the numbers as far as what their success rate opposed to the failure rate. The only failure that I can really remember, and I'm sure that's not the only one, is the one where Gardner Minshew tried to do it, and failed at it. So if you got a half a yard, you're telling your offensive lineman, bear down, knuckle up, dig it out. We got a quarterback that squats 600 pounds. We're going to use his leg drive with 2 big guys behind him to push him forward. And I guess, a lot of it is how was Nick Sirianni feeling in the moment? We scored right out the gate. Then the defense turned the ball over for us, and we blow that on 3rd and 4. Instead of throwing the ball, we try to run the ball against the number 1 rush defense in the National Football League. Then we turn around and we have to punt there. Then they turn around and they score the next series and tie the game up. Maybe there's a little bit of stress that Nick is feeling, understanding that, hey, we need to sustain a drive and get the lead back, whether it's 3 or 7 or whatever it is, and he felt confident in his defense that he could get that done, with the backup to the backup to the backup in the game.
Yeah, well, it worked out for him. And, listen, I think Hurts has been stopped one time all year on that play. So let's take a break. On the other side, hopefully Lane Johnson joins us from the locker room. And, boy, I tell you what, Bosa is a great player. He got a little hobble in this game, but Lane did a hell of a job on him today. And we'll talk to Lane Johnson about that. It is the Pond Lehocky Eagles postgame show, and we're back live from Ocean Casino after this.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News?
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Up, and go Birds.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades, no judgment zone for credit issues, the best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
Well, the Eagles are celebrating right now, so hopefully when Lane Johnson joins us, he'll have a bottle of champagne or something in his hand. So for the time being, until Lane gets out of the celebration, let's go with our Diamond Debate with Devin Caney joining us. Hello, Devin. What do we have today?
Hello, Mike. I thought you were going to bring us back, but you don't have any bling on and like lead the Diamond Debate.
No bling today.
Yeah, I'll take it from here. I have the Lagos pieces on from their win over the Giants last week again because they are so beautiful and they gave me so much. They gave me this beautiful caviar Apple Watch band, 3 different Lagos bracelets, this white gold and diamond necklace, and of course my favorite, these earrings. So guys, go check out Mark's Jewelers. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. No better place to shop for your significant other than Mark's Jewelers. They'll hook you up. They have the most beautiful stuff. All right, guys, let's get into our Diamond Debate. Shortly, this AFC Championship game between the Chiefs and the Bengals will be underway. If people are watching this live, if they watch it throughout the week, they'll know who the winner is. But I want to look at each of these teams as a potential matchup for the Eagles. Which team out of the Chiefs and Bengals would you prefer to see? And which team do you think the Eagles match up with best? I don't know who wants to start. Seth, you look ready to go.
Yeah,
oh, no,
Seth.
D-Gun.
Seth,
I like you. You said Seth.
I did, but then you started talking.
No,
so.
I just said, wow, that's a good question.
I'd rather play the Kansas City Chiefs. And
Why?
here's why. Because the Philadelphia Eagles are an extremely physical football team in all phases. A team like the Kansas City Chiefs, they are a finesse team. The only player, in my opinion, on the Kansas City Chiefs, on the offensive side of the ball, that's a physical specimen that really likes to play the game in a physical way, is Pacheco, the running back, the kid out of Rutgers.
Right.
I mean, he runs like, not only is his hair on fire, but everything's on fire. I love the way he plays. But from a physical standpoint, I just get the sense that the Eagles can dominate the line of scrimmage. They can control the line of scrimmage and run the football on a team like Kansas City, where they might not be able to necessarily do it, against a team like Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati's offense scares me. It scares me because they got 2 good running backs, they got 3 good wide receivers, and Joe Burrow is and the tight end Andrews. I mean, they poached from Baltimore. Yeah. I mean, he's one of the top tight ends in the game as well. And Joe Burrow is just uncanny in the way he plays the game. Mahomes is special, but if I had my druthers, I'd take the Kansas City Chiefs. And what a storyline. What a storyline. Philadelphia Eagles against Big Red in the Super Bowl? Come on, man. It don't get no better than that.
I don't know if I love or hate that storyline, though.
I love it.
I don't know if I can take Andy Reid rematch versus the Eagles again or return.
Why not?
Because, we're just going to have to talk about it for the
you
next
got some
2
love.
weeks.
You got some love for Andy.
Well, so here's my thing with Andy Reid. I appreciate what he did for the Eagles, but he never actually won them anything.
Well, let's keep it going.
So why is he this revered coach in Philadelphia? But
because he got the 5 conference championships and 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you talking about
never won it,
you talking about 14 years of excellence. Come on.
Not only
and
that,
I respect that. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm just saying.
See how spoiled we are?
I don't know.
But I'm just saying he left and he went to Kansas City, and now look at what they've done.
I think now he's revered because of what he's done there.
Yeah.
I don't think we revere him here. I would love for them to beat him.
How could you not revere him here?
I don't revere him.
Why not?
I don't either. Mike,
wait.
Because they
Let me put it
lost
like
3
this.
of 4 NFC title games.
And then he leaves, and all of a sudden he builds his dominant team in the Kansas City Chiefs.
Let me put it like this also. Number one, when I came here in 1997, this team was down, okay? They brought in some guy who was a position coach from Green Bay. Everybody's wondering, Andy Reid, who? He turned it around in less than 2 years with the players he brought in, the quarterback they drafted highly, and they were a consistent national model for years. Now, they didn't win the whole chip, but 5 consecutive championships and a Super Bowl on top of that, number one. He gave this city a lot of pride back that it had lost because it had been so long before this team was as relevant as it became under him. Now, Andy Reid admitted himself when he left here, and I've talked to him about this all the time, he admitted it was time for him to go. He felt what he had done over 14 years had run its course. It was time for him to go. But I also agree, people love Andy Reid more for what he did in Kansas City because he was a part of the Philadelphia turnaround in a lot of ways as well. So you can't take that away from him, Andy Reid's my guy. I'm not, he's my guy. But he knew it was time to go, and it was a mutual parting of the ways. It just ran out. How many coaches stay in the same place 14 years, other than Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh? It doesn't happen in this game.
Yeah. Well, and you have to.
I want to see them beat him.
I mean, I do too.
Listen, I don't know who the better team is, whether it's Cincinnati or Kansas City. We're going to find out. I can't believe Cincinnati could beat them 4 straight times, but that's beside the point. I can't, like, either team is okay. Like, I don't favor one or the other, except I would really like to see them beat Andy Reid.
Yeah, it would be more satisfying, I'd say.
I think for me it would.
Bengals.
I don't know about other fans. You know, I understand what Derek Gunn is saying. He turned the fortunes of football around in this town. I get it. But he did some things that were so aggravating. Like he denied the fact that they needed wide receivers. He denied the fact that they could run the ball sometimes. Like, it was irritating after a while. Then he had to wind up giving in to what the fans were saying. Well, he finally got T.O., and then he finally ran the ball at times. So that's the matchup I want, because I can't stand seeing that commercial anymore where he's painting mustaches on people.
Well, to answer your question, I would also say Kansas City. Because of what Seth said, when you look at the Cincinnati team, Joe Burrow, the numbers just don't make sense. Over the last 2 seasons, the guy's been officially sacked 92 times over the last 2 seasons with a patched-up offensive line. They came within 3 points of winning the Super Bowl last year. They go into this game, they went into the last game without 3 offensive linemen. They're going into this game without 2 of the starting offensive linemen. And here they are on the cusp of going to back-to-back Super Bowls. Those weapons they have scare me. I mean,
Jamar Chase,
oh my
Joe
goodness,
Mixon,
Tyler Boyd,
T.
all
Higgins.
these guys.
The list goes on.
I want to see this defense. Now, you add 3 more sacks, so this Eagles defense now has 78 quarterback sacks. This is just unfathomable right now. 78 quarterback sacks for 1 season. I want to see this defense chase Patrick Mahomes, the magician, around on the field, force him to go this way and this way. I want to see the antics that he could come up with against a defense that's going to be relentless against it.
So let me ask you a question, D-Gun, because we were talking earlier, and Mike was feeling sorry for the 49ers that they got beat up. And,
I wasn't feeling sorry.
And it was a cakewalk, you know, that the Eagles got into the Super Bowl. So I'll ask Derek Gunn, you know, if Patrick Mahomes comes limping into the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, and the Eagles take him apart, you gonna feel sorry for him? Is that going to be the excuse?
That's a
why
totally
the Eagles
different thing. Now you just spun that. Totally different. Because they're playing against a first-string guy. The Eagles weren't playing against a first-string guy. In fact, they're playing against a fourth-string guy. That's embarrassing that Josh Johnson was on the field.
They built Brock Purdy up like he was Joe Montana reincarnated.
Out of the game.
And?
I'm looking at it like I'm not saying the Eagles had a free ticket for the season. They earned their way here.
Hey, Mike,
today, I think they got a little bit of a pass.
Mike, you got to understand. See, my mentality doesn't change. You know, I can't adjust to today's mentality of the game. I was always coached, hey, let's get that number 1 guy out of there and see what his backup can do. Okay, so we saw what the backup to the backup can do, and guess what?
Backup to the backup.
That's okay though.
It's a win.
It's no different.
Hey, look.
Take it.
It is no different than everybody talking about, oh, who is the Eagles play? You play who was in front of them. San Francisco didn't play any damn body this year. The only team they played with halfway decent was Kansas City, and Kansas City beat the brakes off them.
Hey, look, the record books only show who won and who lost.
Thank you.
I don't care how you get there. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if it's a triple doink off a goalpost. I don't care if it's a fumble rooski. I don't care if you win the game. If your team wins the game, that's all that matters, right? Because your team is celebrating and can say something at least for 1 full year that nobody else can. Yep. We hold that Lombardi trophy and you don't.
And last I checked, 49ers defense wasn't all backups today. They brought their all. It wasn't like they let the Eagles just walk on by. Eagles still put up a lot of points on them.
They would have had to shut out the Eagles to win this game. They would have. Let's be honest about it. They had no chance to score. Once the kid went out, and I don't even know if he would have been capable. I mean, that was the intrigue about this game, whether the Eagles defense was going to fluster him, and they may well have. But once Josh Johnson came in the game, we looked at how in the world does this team score? They can't run the ball 50 times in a row to score. They just, it was, to me, that was like the crux of the game. They had no chance to win, and I don't want to take anything away from the Eagles.
I don't care. I don't think nobody.
I second that motion.
Nobody in Philadelphia.
I second
nobody in Philadelphia gives a damn whether they was going to score.
I'm not saying I care about that. I'm saying when I look at this game and try to analyze it, I go, my God, they can't win. The 49ers can't win this game, and you were thinking the same thing. Stop it. You knew they couldn't win that game.
But I don't think that should take away from the Eagles' win.
I'm
Like
not trying to take
I am
away
a lot
from
of people
it.
saying like, oh
Thank
man,
you.
yeah, Eagles
Will
won.
you dab
but
me up, please,
I-
Devin?
Yeah,
See?
sorry.
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of people say like on Twitter and everything like, oh, the Eagles won, but I wish it wasn't this way. Like, what way? They won.
No, I don't care how they won, but we can't ignore the fact either that the 49ers weren't going to score in this game.
Hey,
Yeah.
You know what you need to do, man? You need to revel in the fact that they're going to the Super Bowl.
I'm reveling.
We had to listen to so much BS all year long. Oh, the Eagles ain't this. Oh, the Eagles ain't that. Jalen Hurts this. The defense that. Shut the hell up, okay?
Did you hear
For
my
everybody
open,
out there
did you hear
who
my
doubted
open in
the
this
Eagles,
game? My God,
shut the hell up and be happy.
I opened this show so excited I almost wet myself.
I know. I saw
Oh, wait,
that.
that's too much
Wow.
information. Considering I'm sitting next to you, Mike, that's way too much information, man. Are you telling me I need to wear a rain jacket for the rest of this show?
I mean, seriously, they're going to the Super Bowl. That's the best thing that the city could possibly have. It's even bigger than the World Series, probably. So I understand what it means for the city. I'm just looking at it like I'm not feeling sorry for the 49ers. I'm just saying they had no chance to score.
Yeah,
they just didn't have any chance to score this
I
game.
would venture to say if Jimmy Garoppolo was healthy today, they wouldn't have had a chance to
Jimmy
score.
He's not in-
Garoppolo was
Jimmy
smiling
Garoppolo
on the
wasn't
I mean,
playing.
come on, man.
sideline.
Listen, the way that Hassan Reddick showed up, today, are you kidding me, man? I mean, listen, this defense was not to be denied today. They just wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't care who they play. And you want to know something? If they show up next 2 weeks from now against whoever's playing, whoever shows up in Arizona, if they show up with the same mindset, guess what? We're going to be marching down Broad Street again.
Well, yeah, hopefully. And you look, I like this defense, and especially Hassan Reddick. If he played the way he played today and has been playing lately against either Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, I'll take either. All right, that does it for our Diamond Debate presented by Mark's Jewelers. Stick around, the Lehocky Postgame show will come back.
Lane
right after
Johnson
this break.
coming up with champagne or something.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
My husband hadn't missed work in 15 years. His injury required months of rehabilitation, and unfortunately, the insurance company didn't see it that way. I was working 2 jobs, but it wasn't enough. One conversation with Pond Lehocky changed everything. We sat down, told him our story, and they guided us through the whole workers' compensation legal process.
Pond Lehocky. Tell us your story.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Celebrating the life of your loved one is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish.
My son Kellen was a lively, vivacious, and sassy child. At the age of 4.5, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and he had a very short battle of only 10 months before he lost his life.
Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew that I wanted to celebrate the life of my 5-year-old. And knowing his personality and knowing who he was at the core, that had to be something special.
Turning tragedy into a celebration of life, no matter how hard, is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish. Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
It is the Pine Lehocky Eagles postgame show. The gang, we're live at Ocean Casino. You're watching us on 6abc.com. All right, a couple of announcements here. All right, Lane Johnson is coming up, and we'll get to him momentarily as soon as he gets out of his locker room celebration. We also have our own Mark Farzetta. Farzetta is back in Philly, and he's at City Hall hanging out with the revelers. So we're going to touch base with Mark Farzetta, but until we get either one safely, let's do our 2-minute drill here. So I've got a couple of questions for you guys. Let's start out with the first drive, which we really haven't talked about a lot. First drive of the game is 4th and 3 at the 35. They go for it there. Not only do they go for it, they hit the long ball to Devontae Smith, who makes a crazy catch. And we looked at the replay, and it did not look like a catch. So when we saw the play, what did you guys think? And then what did you think of the 49ers not challenging the play?
First of all, I thought it was a spectacular catch. But once the cameras caught the replay, I'm thinking, I can't believe Shanahan didn't challenge that. Now, leading up to this game, we had heard stories about how Shanahan is so intense in the game, he misses some of the little things. But every team has a pair of eyes up in the booth that should catch these things. So it's on somebody, whoever his eyes are supposed to be, shame on them for not catching that, because first of all, you gave the ball to the most potent offense in the NFC. Second of all, you didn't challenge what was a strategic call early in the game, which gave that team that momentum right there. So that was one of the many mistakes that the 49ers made in this game.
Seth?
Well, you know, it was by far an awesome play. You know, it looked like it was a catch, but you know, he's like telling everybody, telling Jalen to hurry up. I mean, he knew he didn't catch it, and to have the wherewithal to try to get everybody to get up and run a play before, you know, they could actually review it. And for Shanahan and his entire coaching staff that's on the sideline and up in the booth to see the fervent nature of him trying to get everybody lined up, hurry up, hurry up. You know, that was a dead giveaway right there, to hurry up and go take a look at it, you know, and throw a challenge flag. I mean, it was a huge play, you know, in that game. It's one thing, man, to go for it on fourth and 3. It's another thing to throw that ball, man. I mean, it amazes me, the mentality of offensive coordinators now. The first down isn't important when you get one-on-one matchups that you feel like you can win. They are really hell-bent on taking advantage of taking shots down the field in more third and long and 4th and long situations. or short situations than I've ever seen in pro football. It's amazing.
Now, when we look at that play over again, you think that was a called long ball, or was it one of those deals where he saw that Jalen was scrambling out of the pocket, and then when receivers do it, they're taught to go?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say that it was a called play because when you come out of the huddle, you don't know what the defense is. You don't know what front you're going to get. So somehow, somewhere, I'm more of the belief that was a check that was made at the line of scrimmage than so much it was, a called play. I mean, he had to come out and look at what he saw and had one play call or maybe two plays, in the huddle, and came out and looked at the defense and said, oh, my goodness, we got man coverage one-on-one. Let's take a shot here.
All right, let's go with our second topic. I want to know how you guys would have called the fourth down. I know we talked about this a little earlier. 4th and 1 at their own 34. The 49ers had just tied the game at 7. And my immediate reaction was, in a game of this magnitude, you punt it away. I can't take the chance on them not converting there. Now they wound up converting it. They got a penalty to boot on that play. It made it a little easier for them. Your initial instinct, D-Gun, was what?
Sirianni did exactly what I thought he would do.
What would you have done?
You know what? Considering what I've done all year, based on the so-called analytics of the game, I probably would have gone for it there also. They've been so successful in fourth down situations. Why not? In a game of this magnitude, why not go for it? The quarterback is nicked up. You're in your own backyard. You got to go for it.
The game has changed so much that in your day and even before, that's an automatic punt for most coaches, right? They're not giving
not
the ball.
Anymore.
No, that's what I'm saying. The game has changed to that extent. That's normally an automatic. We can't give them the ball here. We're kicking it.
I'm going to tell you this. I think for 99.5% of the teams, that's a punt situation in that circumstance. I think the Eagles are the anomaly because they convert that at such a high rate. It's almost impossible for them not to convert it. So, yeah, I mean, from an old school perspective, we look at it like, if this doesn't work, we're in trouble.
And that's a great defense. That's the other
Absolutely.
thing. So that's why my initial instinct was, listen, you kick it away.
What really surprised me? What really surprises me with that call is that more teams don't run out their short yardage or their or their goal line defense to add an extra body in the middle to keep them from doing that. When I played, we had all of these different packages and all of these different looks that we could give you and all of these different ways that we could affect what you were doing. And when I look and I see a short yardage situation and you only got 4 down linemen in the game, I mean, there's no way you can stop that. I don't care if you pack them all in. Because now, with what they did last week, with the scrum and the fake turn and toss it to Miles, and he gets outside, or Kenneth Gainwell, now all of a sudden that's in the back of people's mind. So it's a different time, Mike. It's a different era. And the way that these guys are doing it, they're willing to take the chance. And like I always say, my biggest problem, with analytics is there's no accountability for analytics. Because if he makes that call, if his analytics guy is in his ear and he says, hey, if we convert this 4th and 1 or this 4th and inches, the probability of us winning this game goes up 35%, okay? And that guy's in his ear. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You know that, D-Gun.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So if he's telling him that and it doesn't work, who the hell's accountable? Is it? I mean, you're not going to throw the analytics guy under the bus.
No,
and when the media gets in the press conference and they ask Nick's not going to throw the guy under the bus. He's going to say, well, the book said that that's what we should have done, and if we did it, there was a 35% probability of us winning the game. That's the only problem I have with it. When it works, it's the greatest thing in the world. The one or two times that it doesn't work, all of a sudden, man, it's like, what the hell was you thinking?
But see, the Eagles are one of only a few teams in the league that can consistently pull that off. Every team can't pull that off. A Kansas City can pull that off. Cincinnati can pull that off. An Eagles team can pull that off. You can't. And you were talking about, why defenses don't try to make personnel adjustments. You know why? Because coaches covered those all-important timeouts. You'd have to call a timeout to make a personnel change, and then the offense could go back to something else.
I get it, but they're not going to change that.
No.
They're not going to change it.
No.
In that situation, it's worth me going, goal line in that situation. Even if they got regular people on it, go ahead and check it. I'll burn another timeout. Yeah. But we'll play the cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question based on how they always convert that, because there was a great replay on how low they get, how well they're coached to convert that. My question is the defensive line. Like, why doesn't the defensive lines meet that plateau with them? It always seems like they're lower than any defensive lineman.
They'll always be lower because they know the snap count.
Yep.
They know the snap count. As a defensive lineman, you're never taught to submarine. As an offensive lineman, you understand that in short yardage and goal line situations, where when the ball is snapped, if you look at our especially the interior guys, our 3 interior guys, those guys they're not even in a situation where they see what's going on. I mean, the ball is snapped, is head down, head between your chin on your chest, and just get as low as you can get and just drive your legs, I mean, it really looks like a rugby scrum, like something that, Jordan Mailata, showed him and taught him or something, but there's no defense for that. There's none whatsoever.
Yeah, and they're so well coached in doing that. All right, and let me go another 2-minute drill subject. Jalen Hurts, all right, pedestrian numbers, winner like he has been all year. Did it look like he was having trouble throwing the football today?
Early on, it just didn't look like he was on today, for whatever the case may be. I don't know if it was the looks the 49ers were giving him. I don't know if it was the magnitude of the moment. Whatever the case may be, but we sat in agreement when we talked about that the first half. A lot of his passes just didn't look like the Jalen Hurts we were accustomed to seeing all season long. For whatever the case may be, and we may never find out, because even if somebody will ask him that after the game, he's not going to attribute it to any injury. He's not going to say he nicked it up. That's the last thing you're going to do. So, but you're right. It just didn't look like the timing was there the way it had been much of this season.
Now he's got 2 weeks, Seth, so that probably won't be a concern for the Super Bowl, right?
Hey, listen, I get the sense that whatever's going on with his shoulder is something that's been lingering for a while, and it's not going to be over until he has the time to just rest and not throw a ball and not lift weights and do all of those types of things. You know what I mean? So, to me, he looked off today. I mean, he looked like he was more on last week than he was today. Like the deep ball to A.J. Brown, he looked like he kind of rushed the throw a little bit. I think he kind of got caught in between, wanting to drop the ball in and, wanting to rifle it in because the safety was getting a good break over top. So he realized that, if I loft it in, the safety may get over and intercept it. Worst case scenario, he's going to blow my wide receiver up. I can't do that. So let me try to hurry up and seal. Let me zip it in there. Then the ball to Quez Watkins. If that ball is out in front with Quez's speed, he's going to go and get that ball. That ball's underthrown. He threw the ball to Quez, and the defensive back, if he had any kind of ball skills, would have just turned and intercepted that ball and went back the other way. So something was off, and, listen, I did a Fox show up in New York last week, and this guy was going on, Craig Carton was going on about, and he presented this list of quarterbacks who'd won playoff games with a low amount of passing yards. Jalen Hurts was on the list. There was like Trent Dilfer and some other guys. And I said, and here's another game, 121 yards passing, but the Eagles put 31 points up. They put 38 points up last week. Okay, as much as people want to talk about the importance of the passing game in the National Football League, okay, when you get to this time of the year. Not the regular season. The regular season is a free fall. It's a pass fest. But when you get to this part of the season, the game is still the same. The team who can dominate the line of scrimmage by running the football and the team who can can prevent the other team from actually being able to run the ball is going to be the team that wins. The Eagles ran 44 times last week for 268 yards. All you care about is the win. You think Jalen Hurts gives a damn about how many passing yards he has? He comes back this week. 44 carries for 148 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns again. He only had 121 yards. You think Jalen Hurts gives a damn about how few passing yards? He's going to the Super Bowl while the prognosticators are sitting around talking about, he's only throwing for about 135, 140 yards a game in 2 playoff games. Who cares?
Let me give some credit to Kenneth Gainwell based on that. He's had 2 really important games in a row. And, on that drive that we're talking about, the 49ers had all of those penalties and helped the Eagles. There was a short pass to Gainwell followed by a rush that got him into San Francisco territory, and then he had that burst for 17. Yeah. This kid has really played well over the last couple of weeks.
There's no question about it. He knows his role. He understands his role. He's not Miles Sanders. He's not trying to be. He's just trying to be the best that he can be. And when you look at the offensive line he's running behind, they give him the opportunity to make plays. And you look at how he ran today, you could tell he was running to get to that championship to possibly win himself a chip. I thought he ran harder today than I've seen him run in quite some time. And that's not to say he hasn't run hard all season. He's a strong back. He breaks tackles. He can dip to the outside. He can run by people. I've seen him do a couple of spin moves to get away from would-be tacklers as well. He's exactly what you need. He's that perfect complement to Miles Sanders for what they need in this offense, and so is a Boston Scott for that matter.
All right, so here we are, and Seth, I want to talk about that touchdown right before the half, which really cinched the deal, and that was off the Josh Johnson fumble of the snap. That's why I hate bad quarterbacks. I just despise them. Now, that guy's been in the league 100 years, and he got nervous on that snap. He fumbles the snap, and then he goes down to get it, and it didn't look like he fought for it at all. What was your opinion of that guy coming in and whether he could meet the moment?
I feel like, the moment was a little too big for him. I think that, he had a pass play on that snap, and you could see him when they showed the replay. It wasn't that he was nervous. He took his eye off the ball for a split second trying to see what was going on.
Maybe because he was nervous.
Well, listen. When you're in that situation, you're not talking about a guy who's really used to pre-snap reads and all of those things. He hasn't played a whole lot. So you watch him, he goes to catch the ball, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to figure out, okay, what's going on in the route? And he drops the ball. And then he compounds that by jumping down on a ball that was recoverable, and then he turned around and slapped it between his offensive lineman's leg, and guess who? The man of the day on the defensive side of the ball, Hassan Reddick, comes out with it, and the Eagles are off running again. But, like we talked about, you and I were sitting right next to each other. I'm like, they ought to just take a knee three times and go on to the end.
Still in the game. Don't risk it.
It's 14-7, and you're gonna get the ball coming out after halftime. What do? You turn the ball over and give the ball to the Eagles on the 30-yard line.
It's funny. The most impressive thing about this Eagles win, beyond the fact that they ran 44 times in this game, is that none of their big star players had those wild games. Usually when they win games like this, there's one player that has that wild game. You talked about Jalen Hurts, only 121 yards passing. Their leading rusher only had 48 yards rushing on 14 carries. The leading receiver only had 36 yards receiving, and yet they put up 31 points on the board. Your defense put them in a great position. In a lot of ways, they helped contribute to what they were able to do. The defense made the necessary stops. The defense knocked out key personnel on the opposition, and the numbers all add up to a lopsided win.
D-Gun, let me tell you something, man. I just feel like when you're a complete team,
sure,
this is what it should look like. I think the team should play complementary football. I could care less about my quarterback throwing for 300 yards.
Absolutely.
If my team can dominate the line of scrimmage, and we can control the clock and time of possession, and we can score on more possessions than not, why do I care? Why do I care? I think we fall in love with the shiny stuff. At the end of the day, the only shiny stuff I'm in love with is that Lombardi trophy.
That W.
All that other stuff, if it comes, good. If it doesn't, Who cares? But at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out how to get to the Super Bowl and win. And this team, I felt like all season long, early on they showed us they could run by running the ball. Teams, got to a point where they were trying to take away our run and trying to force Jalen to play from the pocket and throw the ball from the pocket. He proved that he can do that. Then he got into one game this year, I can't remember which game, but they threw the ball one half for like they're on their 200 yards. They come back the second half and throw it for 100, run it for 150 yards. So it's like, so they proved that, we can beat you one way one half and another way the other half. That's a dangerous team, man. Yep. That's a dangerous offense that can beat you that way. And then you got a defense on the other side of the ball as dominant as they're playing right now. Listen, man, I can't wait. I cannot wait for Super Bowl Sunday.
Let me talk about Brock Purdy a little bit, because he goes out of the game early, and the San Francisco was giving you the impression that he was somehow going to come back in. He goes to the locker room first, comes right back to the sidelines, and then they're icing him, they're rubbing him up. We're used to guys coming back in games, right? I mean, that's the bottom line in the NFL is you play hurt. We saw what Mahomes did. I understand if you can't throw the ball, but I don't know. What's your opinion of him just taking himself out like that?
Listen, it's a new era. I don't think they really took him out per se. I mean, listen, I've had elbow surgery before, so I know how debilitating it can be. We just don't know to the extent. It was pretty obvious that when he came back in the game, because we were talking about, why is he just standing on the sideline? Why does he get back in? And I kept telling you guys, they can't rule him out. Mark Farzetta, while we were watching the game, he was like, I don't understand why they haven't ruled him out. They can't rule him out because they don't have an emergency quarterback.
Right.
Even if he has to come back in and all he's going to do is hand the ball off, I said that's what'll happen. And darn it, if that's not what wound up happening. The other kid goes down, Josh Johnson goes down, and he comes in. The only pass he can throw is a little screen. So listen, I get it. Back in my day, you like Superman. You bleed on the inside, but never on the outside. You get back in there. When you can tell the trainers how many fingers you can see, you get back in there. This is a new age, man, and it's different. And I lean more towards he couldn't crank it up because you really don't throw with your hand and your forearm. You throw with your elbow. And when you go to snap that bad boy off, if you can't do it or you can't feel it or the pain is too excruciating, you just can't do it.
Look at how many times they went to him on the sideline. One time we saw the trainers trying to massage that elbow. The second time we saw them, they had some kind of black band around. I'm assuming there's some kind of heating pad, hopefully trying to loosen that thing up. But very seldom did we see him throwing the football on the sideline. He really didn't throw the football on the sideline until it was deemed that he was going to have to go back in out of an emergency. And you saw what happened to one pass he threw. It was a soft toss 5-yard pass, and that was it.
Well, that's all he was doing on the sideline, the little soft toss. He was just tossing them 5 yards here, 4 yards there, 6 yards there.
So to answer your question, I don't think he took himself out. I think basically the coaching staff said, hey, look, let me see what it looks like first of all. Okay, let me see you throw the ball a little bit. Okay, you know what? You can't do what we need you to do. Why would we put you back in there? And that's basically where they were. They were handcuffed.
Mike wanted to suck it up, D-Gun.
Well, listen,
suck it up. Suck it up. The dude couldn't.
I have no medical information on the kid. I'm just used to guys getting back in the game, and it seems to me that they were rubbing him up like he could come back in the game. But the telltale sign was when he came back in the game, they had a 3rd and 12.
Right.
And he handed the ball off.
He hands the ball off.
Really
that told you right there.
Waved the white flag at that point. All right. So also there was a roughing the kicker penalty in here, which I haven't seen in a while, and he deserved that penalty. Yeah. And there was also a punt that apparently hit the skyline wire that has that roving camera.
Crazy game, dude. and we looked at all the replays, and even when the networks tried to show you the aerial view, you couldn't tell by the aerial view. And I said, you know what? They're not going to overrule this because they can't make a determining decision. Did the ball actually hit the wire? So you can't change the call. And sure enough, they didn't. Now everybody in the stadium saw it, from the Eagle sideline to the fan base. They saw it, but the refs didn't see it. They even went to New York for a ruling, to the league office. They couldn't make a ruling on it.
Listen, there is things like this always have to happen in order for there to be a correction. Now, why do you have the sky cam? You got the sky cam because the sky cam gives you some of the most unbelievable views of the game that you could ever ask for. But if you have a rule, if the ball on a punt or a field goal or whatever it is or a pass actually hits the sky cam, that you replay the down. Well, where's the camera that is filming the sky cam to see whether the ball actually hit the wires of it? So now, next year, I can promise you, you're going to have sky cams that are actually a camera for the sky cam to let you know whether that ball actually hit it or not.
It's really funny because couldn't they have looked at the Skycam replay, and if the Skycam replay was going like that, doesn't that indicate that it actually hit the ball? I actually looked at the ball, and I know we couldn't really see it clearly, but it's like if you shoot a duck in midair and the duck veers off to the left, which is what that football did. I thought it veered off a little
Listen,
bit.
they overcame it. Luckily it wasn't one of those situations where it hurt them. They overcame it.
All right. So we're still waiting on Lane Johnson. We're waiting on Mark Farzetta. We're going to get both of them. And there's a lot of celebrating going on in the city of Philadelphia. So and in the Eagles locker room. We'll get the lowdown on both of it. It is the Pine Lehocky Eagles postgame show.
Don't forget about John McMullen.
And John McMullen.
Don't forget about
who's
John.
Busy right now. Waiting out the celebration so he can talk to some people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And probably got drenched himself somewhere along the line.
From a reporter.
Got drenched in what? They don't have they ain't got no
champagne. Gatorade, man.
Man, please.
I tell you what, that's the one thing I hate
hate
as a reporter is when you're trying to get in the locker room to get your job done. The amount of time you have to wait extends itself because the coach has an extensive talk with the team. The owner's there. The general manager's there. And then by the time you get in there, most of the players are already in the shower and you wait for the players to come out.
You know what I hate?
Talking to the media.
The NFL is the only league that won't allow you to have celebratory champagne in the locker room.
I didn't know that. They don't allow champagne.
No champagne.
No.
How about a beer?
No. I don't even think you can do beer.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
I want to put the goggles on, man. I want to tape the damn thing up and let's get it going. Bring some Cristal up in there and pop it. And let's
you're not popping no Cristal.
Hey, look,
oh, man.
Look, football.
What do you think Major League Baseball is popping?
They're not popping Cristal.
Yeah, they are.
They're not popping Ripple, that's for sure.
Yeah, they
it
are.
ain't Thunderbird.
No, man, it's like Moet.
No.
Moet?
No.
Hey, look, man, let me tell you something. I wouldn't let football players have champagne in the locker room either.
Why?
Because I think you guys are the craziest athletes of all the professional sports. You're already jacked up, man.
The hockey players can do it.
Hockey players are not as crazy as football
players.
players.
They are. I hung out with some during my day.
Trust me,
during my day
I
here
know
in
some
Philly,
hockey players. Now.
I hung out with some hockey players one night.
Yeah.
And I was like, never again.
Yeah, I know who you hung out with. Back in
yeah,
Oakland.
you do. I was like, never again.
Man.
Let's take a break. We're back after this.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades, no judgment zone for credit issues, the best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
Pond Lehocky Eagles post-game show. I'm Mike Missinelli. That's Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner. Joining us soon will be John McMullen, who covered the game for the JAKIB Media. Let me ask you this, Seth. Like, after a game like this, describe the locker room.
Oh, it's just euphoric. You kidding me? It is absolutely euphoric because, you know, your whole season is flashing before your eyes in the realization that, you know, the ultimate goal, you've met it, you know. So you're trying to, you know, it's the one time where you'll let your guard down because you know you got a 2-week window in between, you know, and it's just 100% euphoric in there. Each guy, you know, always, communicating with each other in a situation like this and congratulating each other on such a great year. But the thought is, and the conversation is too, hey, we ain't done yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's joyous, but at the same time, you know, the 2 times that I went to the Super Bowl, I didn't come anywhere near that NFC, AFC championship, you know, trophy. I didn't even want to touch it. That's not the one I wanted.
Sounds like a hockey player. All right, the man that covered the game today has been covering them all season long, joining us on the Eagles Pond Lehocky post-game show. Mr. John McMullen joins us. John, you know, the realization is here. This team that we looked at all year as how good are they? They were good. Were they the best in the NFC? They're the best in the NFC. They're going to the Super Bowl. Just put that in perspective for us.
Yeah, they are going to the Super Bowl, and obviously this is a team that has dominated the NFC. If you think about what the starting quarterback and Jalen Hurts, 16-1, so you know that's pretty good, and that's where the Eagles have been. So it's no surprise they're here, Mike. It's a little bit of a surprise how easy it was, but that was directly related to the Eagles, specifically Hassan Reddick. I think it was his 6th offensive play of the game where he had the big strip sack. It looked like it was an incomplete pass. That was what it was called on the field. Overruled, got the football out before Brock Purdy. So that double positive, as Nick Sirianni likes to call it, was a huge plus in the game, but not nearly as much as the fact that the quarterback had the lead. And, when he did come back, he couldn't throw the football. So it was evident to the Eagles, and it became very easy. So it's very rare you say this, but I'm going to say this. I knew a lot about this team before the game. I didn't learn anything about this team during the game because they blitzed it. And it was not a game from the point Brock Purdy left with that injury.
Hey, John, I had said it a short while ago, when you talk about the sums that make up the whole on this team, outside of the 44 rushing attempts against this 49ers defense, you look at the individual stats, and there's nobody who jumps out as a wow factor. We're so used to seeing one or two players 100 yards, 150 rushing yards. But your leading rusher at 48, your leading pass catcher at 33, and yet they put up 31 points on the board. That is about as complete of a team as you can possibly find.
Yeah, and I think, once the game, all games have personalities. That's something that Jim told me back in the day that always stuck with me, and he's 100% right. And from the standpoint of this game's personality, look, there was a little bit of a thought, okay, what's going on here when Christian McCaffrey had that great 23-yard run, and, maybe San Francisco could make this a game. And the Eagles responded with the help of San Francisco. I think it was a 14-play drive. They went right down the field. San Francisco had 3 defensive penalties on that drive. So not only were they up against it from a quarterback and personnel standpoint, they were also shooting themselves in the foot. And then it was 14-7. And then San Francisco gets the ball back. Josh Johnson, who, by the way, I looked it up, guys, 15 years, 23 roster moves. He's played on every team in every league ever. So, and he was back on San Francisco December 4th. He dropped, that was a pretty good snap from my perspective. He just dropped it. Hassan Reddick, it was Hassan Reddick's night, gets on it, fumble recovery, then it's 21-7. There was no chance this team had. They were warming up Christian McCaffrey to play a quarterback. Once Josh Johnson got concussed, that's what they were down to. And the Eagles quickly figured that out in the second half. All they're going to do is run the ball. They literally can't throw the football. When Purdy had to come back in, he threw 2 little tiny screen passes. Just could not throw the football down the field because of the injury. And you're just trying to get out. You're trying to run the ball, run the clock. And San Francisco is helping you from that perspective because they can't do anything else. And it became just, sort of a long celebration for the trip to Glendale.
John, last week, it was presumed that Nick Sirianni created some bulletin board information and got Hassan Reddick turned up. You could tell by his comments after the game. This week, he's not even a finalist for NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He's going against the guy that's the presumable, apparent winner of Defensive Player of the Year in Nick Bosa. How much motivation you think he gleaned from that coming into this game to show everybody that he was at least deserving to be on the final 3 list?
Yeah, Hassan talks about it all the time. He's been fighting for that recognition for a number of years, and he got a lot of it this year. The fact that he was a Pro Bowl player for the first time, the fact that he got second-team All-Pro recognition for the first time. So a lot of it is coming, but he's still got that chip on his shoulder, and he's had – he, as I said, and I asked Nick this in the press, he wrecked the game. He wrecked the game today. So we all talk about, and Seth, you know this better than anybody, you talk about game wreckers on defense. That's exactly what Hassan Reddick was today. And Nick Bosa was on the other side, and he did not. You got to give Lane Johnson a lot of credit playing through his injury. Nick Bosa had one really good play on his own read. He almost got Jalen Hurts for a safety, but he didn't do much. Whereas Hassan Reddick has 2 sacks, the forced fumble. He knocked the quarterback out of the game. He had the fumble recovery. Yeah, I mean, he feels a little disrespect. I'm sure Nick Sirianni feels a little disrespect. He's not a finalist for Coach of the Year. Kyle Shanahan was. And, you know, look, it's difficult to play with your 3rd-string quarterback, never mind your 4th-string quarterback. So in a lot of ways, it was amazing San Francisco made it this far. But that doesn't change the fact that they had so many sort of mental mistakes. There were 3 delay of game penalties because the coach couldn't get the play call in quick enough to quarterbacks who aren't prepared, maybe like veterans are. And then you have all the defensive penalties, the undisciplined nature. You have D'Amico Ryans, who we all love in this town. He's probably going to get the Houston job over Jonathan Gannon. Well, who performed better today, Jonathan Gannon or D'Amico Ryans? So I think a lot of people on this team and coaching staff, and I talk about it all the time, they're usually not underdogs, but they had that underdog mentality. That seems, when we talk about it's a Philly thing, and that was the marketing slogan the Eagles go with, that's part of it. They always think they're an underdog, even when they're not an underdog.
John, you alluded to the drive that put them in the lead of 14-7. And you're right, the 3 penalties really hurt the 49ers there. But we were kicking this notion around. They had to convert a 4th down from their own 34 in that drive. And I'm curious, when that happened, you're watching the game live, what was your feeling about that?
My feeling was I watched Nick enough to knew he was going to go for it. And I think that's an advantage that the Eagles have over other teams. Most teams are going to default, we're a couple inches short, but we're at the 34. We're going to punt the football, and the Eagles don't do that. And I think it's a huge advantage. Now, part of it is because of the quarterback and the so-called tush push, and ultimately I think the NFL is going to change that rule, to be honest, because of the success the Eagles have had with it. But right now it's legal, and they use it. And if they're 4th and inches on their side of the field, they're very comfortable knowing they're going to get that 1st down, so they're not going to punt the football.
Hey, John, I'm assuming you were at the podium with Nick Sirianni. What was the mindset behind running the football 44 times in this game today? You know, they were even running it with efficiency early on in the game when it was a close ball game, and obviously when they got on the lead, they sat on that lead. Did he talk about the mindset behind trying to run the football with the consistency that they were able to do in this game?
Well, I think most of it had to do with what I said before about, you know, all games have personalities. And as I said, when it became clear that San Francisco was very limited offensively, you go through the entire second half. It's just, all right, we're going to run the ball. We're going to get out of here and get to the Super Bowl. So I think part of that is just, you know, where you are in the game. I always say, when people talk about run-pass ratio, I always say, well, tell me what the score is in the 4th quarter. If you're down 2 touchdowns, it's not going to look good. If you're up 2 touchdowns, it's going to look good for what you want. So that was what this was about. I don't think they actually struggled running the football early.
Right.
When San Francisco was in the game, and Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw they're the best linebacker tandem in football. Fred Warner's a really good player. But, you know, Drake Greenlaw made some mental mistakes. And the 49ers were just frustrated. And they were frustrated because the offense was so limited. And the offense was so limited because the quarterback was out after the 6th play of the game.
You know, John, the one thing about the running game that I'm really impressed with is how quickly Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni pivoted in the first half. You know, they started off the first series. They went 11 plays, 66 yards, and capped it off with a Miles Sanders 5-yard rushing touchdown. Then they went 3 plays punt, 4 plays punt, 3 plays punt. And then they got back to running the ball again in that fifth possession. You know, although they got some help on that drive 14 plays, 75 yards, 3 San Francisco penalties that extended the drive, ended with another Sanders 13-yard touchdown. But they ran the ball pretty darn effective in the first half. I mean, 9 passes. Hurts was 9 of 13 of 19 for 97 yards. But rushing as a team, they ran it 18 times for 69 yards. It was really balanced up in the first half. And they only averaged, like 3.4 yards a carry. Normally, under those circumstances, they'll abandon the run and go strictly pass, but they stuck with it today, and that was one of my keys in pregame was can they remain committed to running the ball even when you're not making yards in huge chunks. And they found a way to do it today because, a couple of weeks ago, we were all screaming from the rooftop, why don't they run the ball? Why don't they run the ball? They were just throwing it.
Yeah, I don't want to give them too much credit, Seth, because when it was 7-7, look, they had the long drive, and that was a good drive, but they were helped out by the 3 defensive penalties, as we mentioned. And then all of a sudden, the 49ers get the ball back. It's late in the first half. They probably should have just kneeled down or just ran it a couple times and got into halftime because they were getting the ball in the second half. And Josh Johnson was in the game at the time. And he had, I think, on the first down, he had a nice completion. It was probably his best throw of the game. And then he dropped a shotgun snap. I mean, it wasn't a forced turnover. It was, he dropped it, and I think it was Hassan who got on top of the football. So it was sort of an unforced error. So then they have the short field. The Eagles get the ball at the 30-yard line. And even then, Boston Scott, if you remember, he was going to be stopped for about a 4 or 5 yard loss. And Dre Greenlaw grabbed his face mask. And all of a sudden, the drive's over. Jake Elliott's going to kick a field goal. So you already harmed yourself from San Francisco's standpoint. But again, they made the big mistake. All of a sudden, it turns into a first down. And then the Eagles score, and the game's pretty much out of reach. So I don't want to give them that much credit, and that's why I said I look at this game, and because of the way it unfolded, I want to give them credit. I'll tell you where I want to give them credit. They were physical. And you never want to see somebody get hurt, but that was a clean play by Hassan Reddick. They were physical. When Ndamukong Suh knocked Josh Johnson out of the game, it was a clean play. They were physical, and they out-physicaled what was supposed to be a very physical team in San Francisco. And you saw that frustration from the 49ers when they started getting chippy late in the game when it was over. They knew they got their you-know-what's kicked from a physical standpoint.
All right, so, John, we got a Super Bowl here. And here's the thing. No matter what team they play, that team's probably going to be a little more experienced in this kind of situation. I don't know how these 2 weeks are going to go. I hope the Eagles don't get carried away with the adulation they're going to get. But when we look at this possible Super Bowl matchup, who do you think they match up better with to win the Super Bowl, the Chiefs or the Bengals?
I think a little bit with the Bengals because Cincinnati has so many issues on their offensive line. Down 3 offensive linemen, so they're really scraping it together. And obviously the Eagles with their front, and we talked about Hassan Reddick so much in the 70 sacks. In Kansas City, they have Patrick Mahomes, number 1. I don't know, you guys might be watching it a little bit more closely. I haven't gotten to see any of it, but I don't know how healthy he is. We know their defense, and Steve Spagnuolo's going to blitz, and they generate some sacks, but they come up with some big plays as well. So from that standpoint, I think just because of Cincinnati's offensive line, I think Kansas City would be a little bit tougher. But both teams are going to be tough because Joe Burrow, man. Eagles better score some points. They better get this offense right in this bye week. They're going to have to score some points that day.
Hey, John, real quick. Obviously, at the end of the game, when you're a team like the 49ers who are riding such a high and it just unraveled for them, they let their emotions get the best of them down the stretch. extracurricular stuff taking place, players getting kicked out of the game, including one Eagles player as well. What do you think will happen more so for the Eagles players in terms? Do you think it'll just be fines? You don't think it could affect anybody's availability for that Super Bowl?
No. Mainly just a fine. I mean, poor Kayvon Wallace, he just got thrown by Trent Williams anyway. So I think it was, he might get a fine, but nothing more than that. And, I think everybody will be ready for the Super Bowl. From San Francisco's standpoint, really disappointing. Kind of amazing they were even here, to be honest. 12 straight, winning with Brock Purdy. But once Josh Johnson was in the game, I mean, there's not much you can do at that point.
John, listen, thanks so much. We'll see what happens in the we have 2 weeks to marinate now. Though I know this city is going to be berserk, and these players are really going to get hugs for the next at least a week. So we'll see how it works out. Are you feeling right now that the Eagles win the Super Bowl? He's gone. Okay. That was the last question.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
You guys got me.
So do your instincts say that they'll win the Super Bowl?
My instincts say they are going to win the Super Bowl. They're 16-1 with Jalen Hurts when he's on the field. I mean, that to me says it all. They find ways to win. They find different ways to win. I think they're the deeper team. They're the more well-rounded team. I think it's their year.
All right, that's good enough for us. John, thank you so much. We appreciate it. That is John McMullen for JAKIB Media, and we at least have one more week with my man John McMullen here. And so, listen, I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, they've climbed this mountain, and all year long we're going, oh my God, they're really good. And it was so unexpected they were really good, and they dominated every game, and then they hit that rut in the end, and here they come through with this game at home, and they're going to the Super Bowl. I guess you got to look at it and go, this is that charmed year where they're going to win the whole thing.
Well, I mean, there's no reason to dispute that. I mean, you look at the regular season record they put up. You look at the numbers they put up. You look at the personnel they brought in to make this thing a complete team. And unlike a lot of teams where players fell by the wayside, this team has been as complete a team as you can possibly ask to be at this stage of a season. So with one game left in the season, it doesn't make a difference who lines up across from them because of the way they're playing football. They just continuously find ways to overcome any potential obstacle and get the job done. And I think the biggest factor, as you just mentioned, is this. With that guy named Jalen Hurts under center this season, this team just can't lose.
They can't. And let's see how the city is reacting. Mark Farzetta was here with us. He shot back into the city to get some real live reaction. He's at City Hall right now. Look at the people milling around. Farzy, what's going on out there in the city?
This is absolutely incredible, as you guys would expect. And I have seen things that I have never seen before in great jubilation on Broad Street and outside City Hall. I've seen people climb the poles before and take the Eagles banners off. I've never seen anyone do a tightrope walk across the lights. It's amazing. And this city is just going nuts. Look at these guys.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, Mark, before you left, you and I were joking in the green room. Did you actually try to climb one of the grease poles?
I did not.
I don't know if he heard that. Did you try to climb the grease pole, Mark?
Hey.
He's getting jostled. Look at this picture. Oh my God.
That's crazy.
And they're gonna be up real late tonight.
Look at the dog.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Seth, this guy says hi.
I love you, Seth Jordan.
He loves you.
All right, my man.
I think everybody loves everybody right now.
So Mark, you think they'll go home soon, or is this going to be one of those all-night things out there?
Well, let's see. Okay, all right. So the fireworks just started a little while ago. Everything is now starting to move, and it's of course impromptu fireworks. It's by no way city planned. People were already climbing the awning outside the Ritz-Carlton, which has become a Philadelphia tradition, and now everyone is just heading right toward City Hall, where it meets on South Broad. So it.
Well, we're losing his transmission there. Hopefully he stays safe out there. People are nuts. Look at this. All right, Mark, thank you. Be safe. Don't get hurt out there. Don't climb the tightrope.
Oh, we're fine. City of brotherly love, baby.
All right, there he is. Mark Forzetta live at City Hall. So somebody was trying to actually tightrope the pipe that goes across.
Man,
I mean, that's insane.
I'm telling you, man. When teams win championships or win big games, people do the extraordinary. People step out of their consciousness for a while. But that's one element. I've done some dumb things in my life, but I'm not trying to tightrope across the street like a wire.
Man,
I'm not doing it. Sorry.
Alcohol makes people do some real dumb stuff.
Hey, alcohol makes you two things, Seth: brave and stupid.
Neither one of them. I mean, both. Well, it's all stupid. There ain't nothing brave about it.
Hopefully the celebration stays sane out there and we don't get any mayhem. So be safe out there. Be careful out there. All right, let's take a quick break. We come back. We have our game balls. We have our driving a game. This show is not over by a long shot. It's the Pine Lehocky Eagles post-game show. We're back after this.
My wife was in an accident that changed our lives forever. She was in rehabilitation for years. She had to learn to walk again. She couldn't take care of herself. We couldn't afford a nurse. We were running out of options. One conversation with Pond Lehocky changed everything. They understood what we were going through and immediately helped us navigate the legal process. We can't thank them enough.
Pond Lehocky. Tell us your story.
Plan your day with confidence.
Keep the umbrellas on hand.
With Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. Action News and AccuWeather, the team you trust.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Welcome back to the Lehocky Postgame Show. It is time for our Jeff D'Ambrosio Auto Group Drive of the Game. GoJeffAuto.com. All right, who wants to start us off here, guys? Best drive of the game by the Eagles offense.
I'm going to first drive of the game to set the tone for the game, and really, the game was over at that point. Obviously the Eagles needed at least 14 to win, 10 to win the game, but I thought that was pretty darn impressive for the 49ers to win the toss and defer, and the Eagles for the second week in a row with the first drive. They come out, they go 11 plays, 66 yards. Devontae Smith, with the great catch, and then Miles Sanders rips off a 5-yarder, to put the Eagles up, early in that game. And I thought the tone was set right then and there.
Yeah. Well, the catch from Devontae Smith, that wasn't actually a catch, but thank God Shanahan didn't decide to challenge that one. We'll take it.
It's on the books as a catch,
right?
So it's
we'll
a catch.
Take it.
He'll get destroyed for not challenging that. I certainly would if I was the media in San Francisco. But and I can't disagree with Seth. That was monstrous when they take the lead on a drive. But the drive that put them up 14-7 really won the game, and there was no way San Francisco was going to score after that. So they went 14 plays, 75 yards. Yes, they were helped by penalties, but they made a couple of really good plays in that. They converted to 4th and 1. Gainwell gave them a couple of really good plays in a row there to get it deep. And so to me, I'll go there as my drive of the game.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell had another big game. I thought he, did really well against the Giants because they were up by so much and just wanted to run the ball more. But today, really productive. D-Gun, what about you?
Both comments by the guys are accurate. But before either one started talking, I was looking at this drive, and I have to go with the second drive, the drive that put them back up 14-7. Because, Christian McCaffrey basically runs over the entire Eagles secondary, and you're thinking, they're building a little momentum. Eagles come right back down the field with a very meticulous, methodical 14-play drive. It chewed up almost 7 minutes on the clock. Thank you, San Francisco, for 3 penalties on that drive as well. Once they got that lead back, it was lights out after that. Once we knew that Purdy wasn't coming back, once we knew that this team couldn't do much of anything offensively, you just put too much stress on a defense. As good as that 49ers defense is, I don't care how good a defense is, you put that much stress on a defense with no help from the offense, you can't hold up an entire game. And then sure enough, as we saw the game unravel, that was exactly the case. But I thought once they took that lead back, soon as San Francisco got a little bit of momentum, it was lights out from that point.
I'm surprised no one chose the Boston Scott touchdown right before the halftime. That was like, what, 55,
well, that was
55 seconds?
It was based off a turnover, yeah.
But still, that really sealed the win, I think, going into the half.
Yeah.
Because they kind of struggled after that first drive in the first quarter and then got things going later in the second quarter.
I really didn't think San Francisco was going to score after it was 14-7. But let me just say, let me throw a bone to Christian McCaffrey. Man, they left that guy out there to get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And like, 'cause if he didn't carry the ball, they weren't going to do anything. And he was hobbled coming into the game, and he ran hard. That one play you're talking about, he ran over Epps, Slay missed him, and he ran over C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Kid played tough today, and I know his girlfriend Olivia Coppola is going, "Don't get hurt, honey. Don't get hurt.
Well,
Stay
he was
safe
almost
out
quarterback
there."
today. They're talking about him going in at quarterback at one point.
Well, he threw a pass.
He did throw a pass.
He threw a pass in this game.
Threw it to an open, vast space.
All they had. They sent him out to the Wolves. He's going, oh, damn, I'm going to get my butt kicked here because there's nothing else we can do. And he willingly accepted the beating.
If I'm him, I'm trying to renegotiate my deal after this game today. I'm telling you.
You're full of sympathies today, Mike. Full of sympathies.
Seth is not
Wow.
Seriously, the guy.
That's your job,
Here's
man.
what we're going to do in this game. Let's play. Christian, we're going to run Christian to the left. Next one, we're going to run Christian to the right. We're going to throw Christian. I mean, seriously. He was out there to get his butt whooped.
No, he was out there playing football. That's what his ass is paid to do, is to carry the ball. He had 15 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown.
Man, Seth, you have no flex in you at all. You got no flex whatsoever.
Why?
I'm trying to throw my man a bone here because he got banged up the whole game. He
I
was
ain't
hurt.
throwing nobody no bone, okay? Because I've been on the opposite end of a loss like this, where you got guys injured. The year that Randall tore his knee up, we went 10-6 and couldn't even make the playoffs. You think anybody felt sorry for us? And that was really our year to win a Super Bowl here in Philadelphia. So I could care less that Christian McCaffrey had to, carry the ball 15 times and catch what? And catch 4 more balls?
And throw a pass.
He had 19 touches all day long, and you bitching and complaining about.
Listen, when you guys lost that, I felt sorry for you. I felt sorry for her. I was really.
That's you.
I had empathy for you back
No,
then.
Do you actually feel sorry for the 49ers after
No, I
the
don't-
way they went out? They were sore losers today.
You're on an island
they
by
were
yourself
poor
today, Mike.
sportsmen.
They turned it into a hockey fight in the end.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. But that's out of frustration.
Their feelings were hurt.
Their whole season evaporated. Like
Their
right before
feelings
their
were hurt.
eyes.
They listen.
Yeah,
they
right.
got dominated. They got dominated to a team that they felt that they were better than, and they just pretty much just lost their cool at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And it just showed. They were sore losers. They got out coached. They got outplayed. They got out everything. And nobody's gonna feel sorry for them. And I'm pretty sure when we see them down the road again, it'll be a revenge game. I'm pretty sure Kyle Shanahan was in the locker room telling them, hey, remember this. Remember what they did. Remember how they treated our third and fourth and fifth quarterback. Man, nobody care about that, man. See you next time.
Yeah,
fools.
and then the Eagles will get another win. I honestly thought it was very satisfying. All right, that does it for our Jeff D'Ambrosio Auto Group drive of the game. Go JeffAuto.com. Stick around. After this quick message, we will have Game Balls presented by Colony Pools.
Postgame show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Postgame, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Hey Philly, it's Tom Giordano from Ponley Hockey Giordano. Be sure to follow Ponley Hockey on Instagram for your opportunity to win free Eagles home game tickets for the rest of the season. You heard that right. We're giving away free tickets all season long. And guess what? We're going to give away tickets to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So make sure you're following us. And as always, thanks for watching the Ponley Hockey Postgame Show. Go Birds.
Welcome back. It's time for our Game Balls presented by Colony Pools. Flywithcolony.com. All right, a few obvious choices here, guys. So I'm curious to see if you all are simpatico on your selections. So, D-Gun, let's start with you.
I'm giving it to Hassan Reddick,
Yeah.
who makes the play of the game, knocks the young wonder kid out of the game, completely changes the 49ers' whole complexion, whole MO in this game. Hassan Reddick came out, took advantage of Mike McGlinchey. We talked about it all week long about how there was a mismatch. He asserted himself right from the start. Hassan, you get the ball in the game for me.
Love it. Mike, what about you?
All right, I'm going Christian McCaffrey. No, I just said that
Oh.
just to piss Seth off. Hassan Reddick, absolutely. I mean, like in the old days, the name of the game was knock a quarterback out, right? Knock him out of the game. That's how you win. Well, he didn't intend to knock him out, but he frankly did. That play just took the 49ers
How do you know
right
that?
out of the game, and they just rolled him from that point on. So Hassan gets my game ball.
Seth?
And listen, it's unanimous. I think that that first drive for the offense, Dev, set the tone for the offense for the day. But the way Hassan Reddick came out the first two series of this game, before the quarterback got knocked out, he set the tone defensively for him. I mean, they only got him down for 3 tackles, 2 solo, 1 assist, 2 sacks, and a tackle for loss. I don't know where the caused fumble, and they only got him down for 1 quarterback hit. That ain't right, So the statisticians got his numbers wrong, but he was an absolute terror early in the game, and I felt like he set the tone for the game from the beginning.
Hassan Reddick definitely is having an incredible season. He's done so much for this defense after having a somewhat slow start to the regular season, yet not a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. Do you think that chip on his shoulder had anything to do with his performance today?
We were just talking to John McMullen about it. I felt like, Nick revved him up last week with some bulletin board material that wasn't true. You could hear that in his post-game presser last week, hey, be careful what you wish for. They were up there talking a whole bunch of nonsense. And then, when the finalists came out this week for, Coach of the Year, MVP, and all of that, and he wasn't even a top 3 finalist. I don't even know if he was a top 5 finalist. And, I think he took it personal. He took it personal. The guy that's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year came in his house, and he outshined him today. And I felt like he took it personal from the word go, that he wanted to show not only Nick Bosa who the real MVP is, but the rest of the league who shunned him and didn't give him an opportunity to even be in the mix for it.
Yeah, I mean, and when you talk about those honors and Coach of the Year, Nick Sirianni, another guy who was slighted, in my opinion.
Crazy.
And a lot of people are saying Kyle Shanahan should win Coach of the Year. I disagree. I think today proved that he is not. But what do you guys think in terms of this game? Do you think Nick Sirianni managed it well? Who managed it better?
Yes.
Who managed the game better, he or Kyle Shanahan?
I do want to say I believe that Doug Peterson, is the NFL head coach of the year.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, what he was able to do there. I thought that Nick and his staff did a tremendous job. I felt like Shane Steichen adjusted in the first half to, the passing game just wasn't clicking. They weren't converting a whole lot of first downs, in the first half. As a matter of fact, they were 2 for 7 in third down conversions in the entire first half.
Yeah.
But then they made the adjustment and they started to run the football. And I think once they started to run the football, it opened up the rest of the offense, and they just became extremely dominant. They ran it 44 times again for 148 yards. And, Jonathan Gannon, hey, listen, Christian McCaffrey had that one play where he ripped off that run. But listen, this football team, and I know they had the backup to the backup end, 164 total yards and 3 forced fumbles that the Eagles recovered. So we won the turnover battle. And, all coaches in all phases. There was one time where we kind of held our breath, on a kick return D-gun. Yep. But other than that, the special teams held up and did their job today. So you got to tip your hat to this coaching staff. We might not like everything that they do and every way that they do it. It's hard to argue with a team, that is what now 16-3, and you got a quarterback who's 16-1 in games that he played, and you're going to your second Super Bowl for the second time in 5 years. Kind of hard to argue that, man.
When you have this wealth of talent on the football field and this wealth and depth of coaching on both teams, the games become point counterpoint, and who makes the more strategic moves. After the Eagles scored that initial touchdown, the next 3 drives generated a grand total of 13 yards. That's not the Eagles' offense. So they had to figure out exactly what they could do to make themselves more efficient and more fluid against this 49ers defense. They went to the running game, and that was a big turning point from them. And then, of course, the defense, once they understood that this offense could do nothing without their quarterback at the helm, they just basically feasted on them and kept, like Jonathan Gannon likes to do, keep everything in front of them, generated turnovers, got that Niners offense off the field, gave the ball back to their offense. It was lights out.
I think Sirianni should have been the Coach of the Year, and the fact that he wasn't nominated in the top 3, I think is a crime.
Philadelphia again.
Listen, I understand with Doug Peterson. He had a cute year. This guy took this team to the Super Bowl, and we didn't know what they were. Really, they came into the year. There was maybe one game that you can make the argument he was out-coached. It was that Saints loss. But he had an answer for almost everything this year. When he was first hired, I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was a little high schoolish. But this guy has convinced me that they made the right move. Whatever they saw in those interviews with him that led them to believe that he could be a coach who could take a team to the Super Bowl, I tip my cap to him. I didn't see it. I've learned it.
Yeah, and you know what? Regardless of what those outside of Philadelphia might think of Nick Sirianni, I love him. I love his passion. He has the locker room. The players love him. Darius Slay published an article in the Players Tribune last week, 2 weeks ago, and he basically talks about how great of a coach Nick Sirianni is because he loves his players and his players love him, and I think that's important. So, Mike, I agree with you. I think he was slighted. All right, that does it for
Shanahan shouldn't be.
Not at all.
They
I
were
agree.
expected to be good. We didn't know what the Eagles were going to be. I think he did the overall better job. Not that Shanahan did a bad job. I just don't understand how he's not a top 3.
It's the continual, disrespect.
Yes.
That the city of Philadelphia and the Eagles have faced all year. I was. Again, Craig Carton, I was on with him last week, and it was the same thing. And he was just, going on and on about, why Jalen Hurts was, why do you feel like Jalen Hurts is being disrespected, and Nick Sirianni and Hassan Reddick and the team? I'm like, because you guys are. I said, but that's okay. I said, that's okay. And I gave him all the reasons why, this football team and those players that were deserving, and Brandon Graham, who should be the comeback player of the year. How do you come back a year removed from an Achilles injury? You're 34 years old in your 13th year, and you show up and you produce double-digit sacks, in a backup role, in a rotational role.
With less playing time.
And then you got Saquon Barkley, who is 2 years removed.
Yeah.
From his ACL.
I believe they're still going to be disrespected as they go into this Super Bowl.
That's fine though, because you want to know something. I mean, sooner or later, the rest of the nation is going to understand the stupidity of what they do. Okay, because what they do is they insult us. They insult the players here. They insult the city. They insult the fan base. And you know what? We don't give a damn, because you keep insulting us, you keep hating, and we just keep on percolating. That's what we do.
You can still.
It fuels the team.
You can add to that also. Look at Joel Embiid's situation.
Yeah.
The leading scorer in the NBA. Now, we understand he has a foot injury and probably would have declined anyway. He doesn't even get voted as a starter in the All-Star game. But, since I've been here, the years I've been here, it's been constant. And I ask native Philadelphians all the time, why is it such a disrespect? No one has ever been able to give me a definitive answer as to why. I mean, for the first 10 years I was here, every Eagles broadcast, it was on a different set of announcers. One of the first things they want to go to is Santa Claus snowball.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously? That's your storyline right out of the gate? Really, something that happened in the late 60s?
D, that's okay. Like I said, they keep hurt, they keep hating. We'll keep doing what we're doing. And and to touch on Joel Embiid, you decided you didn't want to give him the MVP last year.
Exactly.
So when the MVP came in town last night, boy, did he put on a damn show.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he gave him the business last night.
But that's why athletes like Embiid, like Jalen Hurts, they thrive in Philadelphia, because we are a market for underdogs, or those that aren't given the credit that they're due, and we love proving people wrong. And
No, we just, Devin, you know what we do? We don't need other people to give us our respect.
Right.
In Philly, we take what the hell we want.
Yeah.
We take what we deserve. And that's what I love about this team. Not only did they beat the 49ers, who very few people gave them a chance, to beat, because, the Eagles haven't played anybody. The 49ers are the best team that they're going to see. They destroyed their ass today.
Yeah,
I love every bit of it, Mike Missinelli.
I did too.
And I don't even feel sorry for him.
I feel sorry for him.
I did too, but the narrative is going to be, well, they played the 4-string quarterback and the refs were kind of on their side, and penalties and yada, yada, yada.
It is what it is.
A win is a win. I'll take it.
It's the hand you get dealt.
That does it for our game balls presented by Colony Pools. Flywithcolony.com. Stick around. The post-game show's coming back right after this break.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors.
We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Action News, celebrating 50 years with AccuWeather.
If you think severe weather has been on the rise, you are correct. In the last 3 years, tornado warnings in our region have shattered records, with 52 last year alone. Half of those warnings resulted in confirmed tornadoes, including 2 extremely rare EF3s. Thanks for always trusting us to keep you informed.
50 Years of AccuWeather is sponsored by Independence Blue Cross. Choose coverage you can count on with the region's strongest network.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
All right, welcome back to the Lehocky Eagles postgame show. Mike Missinelli with Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, Devin Caney. All right, this is usually a time where we check in with Dr. Bruce, but Dr. Bruce is not going to be with us today, so let's talk about a couple of injuries that we would have talked to Dr. Bruce about. And what is the Landon Dickerson situation? It always seems like it's I don't want to laugh about this, but it seems like every game he gets dinged up, goes to the sideline, looks like he's in real distress, and all of a sudden he comes back in the game. Now, what did we see with Landon today?
I don't know if it was a strained muscle or he took a stinger. It looked like the elbow. But he got up, walked off. I fully expect him 2 weeks to be lining up at that left guard position. You're right. I mean, it's a physical position, a lot of activity and movement at that position as well, man. You get bumped around pretty good. You know, he's been nicked up a few times this season, but he's like that, he takes a licking but keep on ticking. Like, I expect him to be in there, man, when it counts come Super Bowl Sunday 2 weeks from today.
He just got hit on his funny bone.
There you go.
He what?
He got hit on his funny bone.
Which is real. I actually just did that this week, and it is really painful. I had a similar reaction to what Landon did.
You didn't see him smile?
Arms start tingling.
You didn't see him smiling?
Who's messing with me now? Who's
he got
not?
hit on his funny bone.
With me
No,
too?
serious. You never had a funny bone?
Funny bone?
Yeah.
That was it?
You never got it? You never had
no, I've
like
got hit plenty of times with my funny bone. I thought it was like a knee that he was
No, he grabbed his elbow. He grabbed his arm. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well,
Come on, Mike.
Funny bone injuries, that I think he can recover from that.
I want to talk about the fact that Lane Johnson, we found out in the pregame that he retore his groin last week in that game.
Was that when he was grabbing it?
I think so.
Game?
Yeah. I think so.
Wow.
And I mean, so for him to line up today
Amazing.
against the quote-unquote premier pass rusher today and shut him down,
it's phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
It really is. When you see his get-off, it almost looks like he's a false start, but he's so quick with that get-off. And I guess now, he's really concentrating on that quick get-off to compensate, to get in the right position that his groin can't get him in.
What did I tell you guys for weeks? That man could be on crutches, electric wheelchair, whatever the case may be. If he can physically play a game, he's going to play. I can't even begin to imagine what type of pain he must be playing through just at this point. I mean, you've been there. You know what it's like. You've had teammates that have gone through that. You know, I've had groin strains. I mean, a lot of us are playing different sports. But to be out there pushing on the dude, coming at you full speed for 60 minutes of football?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Well, you know, it's one thing to do the dance. It's another thing when that guy goes from speed to power and all of a sudden, you know, he's trying to bull rush you and you got to sit down.
Right.
I mean, that's tough because when he's trying to just run the hump on you, you know, and you're just opening and you going with him, that's one thing. But when he decides he's going to run the hump and you get squared up on him and then he decides to go to power and all of a sudden you got to go from running to sitting, man, let me tell you something. That's tough. That's tough. I mean, that dude is made of steel to be able to get through 2 games back to back like that.
And in all honesty, I wonder if he's taking any medication for it.
No, you're taking something for it.
Well, I was going to ask,
Lane's
is that
a
an
different
injury
dude.
that you could, like, I know that there are various shots that they can use on them, but is that an injury that you can even do that with?
You can go, that kind of injury, you can go a local anesthetic or you can go, you know, a Toradol shot. I mean, you can go a couple of Percocets. There's a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm giving a
Really?
lot.
What else, Sam? What else you got?
I'm just saying, there's a whole lot of remedies that you can. But I can promise you one thing: by the time it wears off the night, he gonna be hurting. He gonna need a couple of more Bud Lights to rehydrate.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, if you aggravate it even more so, you don't know how severe it is because you're playing. Your body adrenaline is flowing. You're on his medications to deaden it. I mean, he could do even worse damage to it in this game today. We won't know, you know. But if he's still there ticking, 2 weeks from today, that's all that matters. To hold down that right side.
All right, let's focus on what we're coming up against in 2 weeks. Do you think there's a chance that the producer of this show decides, you know, he should send these guys that have worked so hard on this post-game show and the pregame show, we should send those guys out there to Arizona?
I think we should get limousines. We should have first-class tickets, 5-star hotels, shrimp, lobster, caviar, and filet mignon. Oh, you already said, right? You said you know the answer to that, right? Basically, you're lucky if you're going to get McDonald's and a stagecoach ride.
Hey, listen.
And we all stand at Seth's house.
We're working on it behind the scenes.
Yeah, okay.
Really? Oh, you doubt
Really
me?
do it from the Joyner veranda that overlooks. And you
Hey,
can see
listen,
the
man.
cacti.
My house Super Bowl week is already crowded. Okay, unless y'all want to sleep on the balcony. my house.
I mean, it's warm out there, right?
My house is packed.
Oh, I know you got a room for D Gun.
How awesome would it be to be able to do the Super Bowl from right around the stadium somewhere? That would be pretty darn awesome.
It would be awesome. Yeah. Can you pull that off?
Hey, we're working on it.
You're the big cheese here.
Trying to figure it out.
The only problem is all the big networks have all the prime choice spots taken.
Listen, we don't look at this. Look at the spot we got right here. We don't
Oh,
need much room.
No,
all we need is one plug.
No, you need more than one plug. No.
All we need is one plug. There's three wires.
You need more than one plug, man.
Man, all we need is one outlet, man. We'll make it work.
What you gonna do? Stand, hold up, and share a mic?
We should just show up, knock on Seth's door. If we're here, make some accommodations for us.
See, the thing is, my brother lives out there, and you know, outside of the show, you guys might not see much of me. So I'm just letting you know right now.
See, Joe, there you go. You don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about a hotel for me. You don't have to worry about a hotel for D Gun.
Whoa,
so that's two guys that scrub.
Well, Mike and I guess.
I need a hotel.
We still need rental. We need rental cars.
Yeah.
We need meal per diems, rental cars. We need all that stuff.
Man, your brother got a couple of cars, man, to lend you a car for the.
That's not the point. I'm working for a company. They should provide these things.
I don't want to stay with these.
Joe, I don't need nothing, man.
Yeah, because you live right there. I guarantee you.
I don't need anything, Joe. Just tell me what time, what the call time is, so I can be there on time.
I promise you, if that Super Bowl was somewhere else, Seth would be the first one in line. I need a car. I need a hotel suite. I want an ocean view. I guarantee you, you'd be the first one in there.
I just want
Am I
to
right or wrong?
play some golf out there. That's all I want to do. All right, so let's get to the game. Let's get to the game itself. I'm looking right now, and the Kansas City Chiefs lead the Cincinnati Bengals. So unless otherwise noted,
Eagles and Chiefs. What do you think the betting line would be? I tried to see if it was posted. I can't find the either or at this point on the Las Vegas line. So what do you think it'll be against the Chiefs? What do you think it would be against the Cincinnati Bengals?
I'd say 1.5.
1.5. Eagles favored?
Yeah, I said off the top of the show, I thought the Eagles would be favored. I'd say 1.5, 2 at the most. Eagles favored.
Seth?
I think it'll be higher. I think, given the issue with Cincinnati and their offensive line and how dominant our defensive line has been all season long, I get the sense that, the line against Cincinnati would be, -4. Against the Chiefs, I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, the game right now is 13-6.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like anybody's running away with this game. It's going to be tight. It's like the last 3 times they played. It's probably going to come down to a field goal at the end. And if Cincinnati or Kansas City, whatever team wins this game by 3 points, taking into consideration the Eagles scored 38 last week against 7 points, and then came back again and scored 31 against 7 points again this week. The Eagles at minimum are going to be a 4 or 5 point favorite if this game is as close as it's looking like it's going to end up.
All right. I think the Eagles will be favored a point over Kansas City and maybe 3 over Cincinnati. All right, it's time to wrap this up. Now, we've had a long climb to get here, and the Eagles are in the Super Bowl for the second time in 5 years. We deserve this good fortune, folks. We deserve this good fortune. The Phillies got to the World Series, didn't knock it down. I think that's an indication that the Eagles get into the Super Bowl and actually win another one. And of all the suffering that is going on with the Eagles and the misery of that not winning, to have 2 Super Bowls in 5 years would be something in our lifetime that we will never, ever forget and always cherish.
Absolutely. It's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. But you know what? They've earned this right. From the front office to the players to the trainers, everybody associated with this team, they've earned this special moment, and hopefully they finish this journey the way they started it.
Enjoy these 2 weeks, folks out there. It's going to be fun to anticipate a Super Bowl. For Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, Devin Cady, I'm Mike Missinelli, and the great people. Thanks for watching. The great people at JAKIB Media. Thanks to Ocean Casino. Thanks to 6abc.com. We had a blast, and we got 1 more to go right here. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Weather forecasting is a team game.
We rely on each other every day, updating the models and passing along new critical information.
We have a team of 5 experienced meteorologists and a specialized weather producer, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Sometimes what I see in the model, Cecily could see something different.
That's when we come together as a team to make our most accurate prediction.
And all of this backed by more than 100 AccuWeather scientists. It's a team game.
And we have the best team in town.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Celebrating the life of your loved one is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish.
My son Kellen was a lively, vivacious, and sassy child. At the age of 4.5, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and he had a very short battle of only 10 months before he lost his life.
Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew that I wanted to celebrate the life of my 5-year-old. And knowing his personality and knowing who he was at the core, that had to be something special.
Turning tragedy into a celebration of life, no matter how hard, is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish. Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.